on, guys, and welcome to another episode of Entrepreneurial Journey. Today, I have the most wonderful and beautiful spiritual healer and coach in Ottawa. Normally, I will do the introduction for my guest, but this guest is special, and I'm going to allow her to go ahead and introduce herself.
Well, thank you that I'm not special, that I get to introduce myself. Well, I'm Donna Henhoeffer, first of all, and I do, as Marcia sort of indicated, I do intuitive healing and spiritual coaching for people to really help them get back to who they really are, what's going on inside. And that comes, after years of my own growth and healing journey. And, we know we're living in a world right now where people are so curious about what's going on and how do they transform their lives. And, I have that period of my life and took me down the path to really delve into my own healing, which then allowed me to discover that I had interesting gifts of my own, and I channeled in a modality, and I work with my guides, and now I created a program and, to really help. I work with women more so, and it's funny because I want to really blend
most problems.
No, I wouldn't say that at all. I think people are waking up to, women need to heal, and yes, we do. And I have such a precious heart for what men do too, because we were all children. The truth is, as a woman, I certainly find it easier to work with women because I've had to heal through so many things that would just be much more relatable. So I guess that's kind of who I am, what I do, and we're going to talk about where I'm headed and all that. So let's just delve in, I guess. What's up? What do you want to know?
Oh my God, you have so much to offer. Like, I've been thinking about this episode for like a couple weeks now. I'm like, I don't even know where to go with you because your insight is just amazing. And I had the luxury, I should say, of just being guided by you, and it's been like really profound, and you have opened up so much for me, and I'm just like, okay, what do we talk about? And this morning I was like, you know what? It's the beginning of the year, and I think this is a really, really good time to, actually, we were thinking it's the beginning of the year. I mean, when we were going. And I think it's a good time for us to, as a lot of people deal with goals and starting over, just kind of structure and stuff. It's a good time to talk about goals and maybe goal setting and some of the challenges, or should we even call it goals?
So I would have to call it goal. That's the interesting part. But where I will take it is, with it being a new year, and certainly what I'm, supporting you with and support clients with, is how do you set a new foundation, right? And, even when we look at New Year's, so many people speak about, what do I need to resolve? And what are these goals, right? I need to solve this it's this to prove that I'm successful, or to make sure that I get this, or whatever else, instead of intending, right? Intend for something and allow it to start to pull you forward, right? Yeah. So even in our own, working together shortly, it's really working with how does this mind and all of our emotions work with this energy field that we are, let alone the energy that's, coming from us, and how do we bring that back in so that all of us meets our intentions in a much more smoother and easier way.
Yeah. And it's funny, like you said, us, and that whole concept of who am I? Where am I going? I realized like a lot of people are navigating through this world, and we actually don't know ourselves because we need to take so much time, that intimacy with ourselves, to discover who we are. And it's challenging. I mean, we get caught up with so much of like, I need to be a professional. I need to do this. I need to do that. And there's all these moving pieces, these moving parts, and we're trying to catch up and put it together. It's almost like a big puzzle, and we're just trying to connect the dots and create this beautiful canvas, whatever it is, to say, okay, this is me. This is who I am. This is what I've accomplished. And yeah.
And nowhere in that did you take a breath.
That's what it feels like.
That's exactly it. So, big thing. Becoming breath aware, right? And we do here. And that's why I say my own journey. It's like, I gotta I experienced divorce. I experienced moving from Toronto to here to Ottawa. I experienced, chronic, a chronic illness that I navigated and healed on my own. That was, you know what? They had no solutions for it. And I was like, finally the intuition kicked in and I listened. This is the first time I really listened, right? And that's it. It's helping people. How do you listen to which is intuition, which is my, human mind just pulling me back because it feels safer in a comfort zone. It has these expectations, right, of what success, and I have to map it out so I look good in the world, right? And it's like, and then we're so disconnected from our own hearts, right? We're not running energy properly. We're not living in our whole lives. We've talked about it many times, and the world is living outside of their body. They're living everybody else's dreams, everybody else's, idea of what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what we were told. And, go to school, get a good education, be a great mom, have a profession, be good at this, be great at that. And then we have good and bad. And it's all especially when you get older, navigating through all these things, these expectations is quite challenging. And a lot of people get burned out. I know from time to time I've felt really burned out. And I've always have to take a step back and be like, okay, where is this going? What am I doing? And, I'm so grateful for you because sometimes people think, oh yeah, I can do this on my own. And, the more I get coached and, really get into myself and my body and breathing and all that stuff, the more I feel more firm. Okay, I'm on a study and it's a big new discovery. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know this person. And it's funny because you taught me something just recently and, it was so liberating, just breathing. And breathing, it's the simplest thing, breathing and pushing your belly out and really breathing, full breathing. And I did it last night and I'm like, this feels so good.
Because you're bringing new breath into the whole body, right? So the biggest thing for me is, and you said many things there, the burnout, right? So let's go there for a second, because I think that's really the first part of even what we've been working on together. Mm-hmm. We are so stressed as a society, right? We're anxious, we're stressed, we're under pressure. So the body, it's coming down on us, which means we're pushing it away from us, out of our body, pushing us against ourselves instead of finding these tools. And once this is over, you can go to my website. There's a free guide right there. It's got a video, yep. Right? You can walk through it as well. How do you flush stress just quickly in the day, right? Now, there's definitely more to it, but that's the first small tool. Everything gets pushed up to here. We're working, not breathing. It's all in this part of our body, and we're running the same story and we're looping, right? And when we take these breaths of air, right, but the full body, right, we need to go back to breathing like a baby, right? As funny as that is, but you have a daughter, it's breathing with the belly, push it back, bring it up, bring it into the whole body, and then get grounded in ourselves. I mean, but and it's its own journey that, again, we have to be responsible for ourselves, our own body, taking the time, taking the pause to say, because once you do it, if it's a minute or two, once you get really doing it and the body's working its own being, right? You can get there in a breath, right? But it's getting this flushed out so all of you can become present.
And how do you do that? How do you take that time before the burnout and say, hey, I need to get in touch with myself. I need to take time for my entire being and really grab myself. Because a lot of people are on the rat race. They're like, I want to try going
so let's go there right there. So anybody on the rat race, right? Anybody in the rat race, listen up. So here's what happens. Oh, do you want to go for drinks for after work? Of course. Yeah, and do you have time for the new partner in the middle of that? Of course. Do you want to go shopping? And we can scroll and do all of that. Our minds have the capacity to do squirrel, right? Here, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We make time for things that at the end of the day, are they really important if they're the things that are burning us out? And for everyone that's in perfection mode and working, which is, I'll do anything for my work because I need to prove that I'm worthy enough for in their eyes, right? I need to prove me to someone else's eyes. And we've never spent time to, oh my gosh, that means like when we give all of that away, and again, I was there, when we give all of that away, we've given our energy, our time, our attention more than is necessary, because it's actually taking us outside of, we're not giving and receiving in anything that's balanced, right? We're living these poles of our lives and giving it all over here. So when we get home, we can flatline over here, right? And I lived it. I was a chef for years. I burned out, like burnout. I mean, I was in the kitchen at 4 a.m. and I would do it till 4, 6, 8, 10. And that was 6, 7 days a week. I did it all the time until it was finally, that's it. Not only, I mean, I went through divorce, burnout, move, all in a period of 2 months. So it's, right? We burn ourselves out. We're in a world that doesn't feel worthy of ourselves. Yeah. We're seeking that all outside of ourselves.
Wow. You said a lot. And there's some, of course, we're going to go back to your chef days. I want to hear about it. I want to hear all about your food and everything. But you mentioned like, moving to a society where we need to feel valued by other people. Do you blame us? That's the way we grew up. Good boy, good girl, great kid, not so great kid. And we do this comparison. And I mean, we've just been conditioned to think and behave with that either good or bad, kind of way of living.
Right. Well, and that's the duality world, right? That is in many ways what we were taught and brought up in. And the thing is, we continue the pattern until we stop long enough to question and realize at what point in our world, in our lives, we're the ones making the choices. And as adults, we're making the choices. Do the kids have choices? Yes, depending on how they're parented, right? So it comes back to this, how do I reparent myself? I'm getting to this world where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm not even, we're not conscious of what we're doing, right? We're burning the midnight oil. We're burning through it. We wake up, we need coffee, adrenaline, whatever. And then we're depleting the whole system. And that's right. So yeah, you can't, for me, it's like, I don't blame society anymore. It's me just I'm going to be responsible for myself in a different way. I'm reacting to everything out there. I'm going to respond to it. And this is where the healing needs to start happening.
You said you're going to be responsible, and it's for accountability is a big thing, and it takes a while to get there. I know even just inserting myself in this, it took me a while to realize, hey, I am responsible for me, my well-being, the space, my environment, my boundaries, and all that stuff. And I'm going to hold myself accountable, and I'm going to seek the guidance that I need, to navigate this space better, because I don't like the way but some people never get to that realization. They never do. I mean, some people die not having the opportunity to know themselves, live a different way, which is quite sad. And I'm always grateful that is not my calling. I'm so happy. And even though the journey of finding yourself and just learning how to be in your own being it can be a little bit challenging. I'm still grateful that I have those questions. So how can someone break out of that cycle, or even just realize that, hey, I need to find me or understand this space better?
So the first thing is you've got to be willing. You've got to be willing to do it. And then realizing we can't do it on our own. You shared that earlier, which is you start, and this is what many of us do. We get little bits of, I've got time for that. I'm going to quick read that thing, do that thing, and that work. Well, that only works for so long, because that's just starting to imprint you with pieces. And at the end of the day, until you work with a coach, a guide, a mentor, you'll never see your own blind spots, and nor will you get, further along faster. And it's not about getting there faster, right? Because I used to be like, oh, I gotta hurry up, give me all this stuff so I can go faster. It becomes, it's the quality of me discovering who am I? And the beauty is we're all at different spaces. The only person that can do your work is you, right? I can offer my experiences, which I do. I can help relate it to something that I did, right? And that's why even group programming is so beautiful, right? Which is and science proves this too, which is you start to give and receive differently. We're not used to giving, we're used to giving it all out, right? But receiving it becomes difficult. And then, so that's part of it. There's the piece around, some people never do. You're right. And you need to be responsible for you. Mm-hmm. For me and so many people that I work with, it comes from people pleasing, right? The people that I'm so gravitated to residing in the land of people pleasing, right? You think, and definitely when you live in hospitality, I need to serve, right? Yeah. I need to serve people. I need to do these things.
Very nosy.
What happens is that people pleasing comes from the family, the upbringing, all the people you're surrounded by, the work, the stuff, the unworthiness that lives deep within the core. So anyone that tells you they're further along and you should do it like me, I can glean stuff from you. Yes. However, I still need to do it for me. Mm-hmm. So that's why that willingness, what happens is you're human, right? This human vessel that's got those stories and all that stuff, those memories that it keeps living, those patterns and those beliefs and stories, and you're the storyteller, right? Those stories that we keep telling ourselves are human. Every time we go to do something different, it's going to be like, don't go there. She's the crazy one. Well, it's not her, that we've never done that before. It's my girl telling you, right? That's the first thing you're like, yeah, just go back to bed.
Yeah, let's go back. No, just go back to bed.
And so that's part of it. And then it's like, just like training a child. Okay, no. Time to go to school. We need to tie the shoes. We need to whatever. Yes, you have to navigate your body that if you're not feeling well. However, not using that as the excuse. And that takes enough time to see little tiny results. There's also there's an integration process. There's a digestion. All this stuff that's coming in needs to get working in the body, in the system. My big thing is get you in your body first. When we're on this, scrolling like this and squirreling around and doing things for everybody else, where in any of that was I in my body to even listen to my own body cues, right?
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't. I had chronic illness. I didn't look. I was so outside of me, doing everything for everyone else. I never took time for me. Any time that I had was to prove that, oh my God, they liked me. I'm going to do more for them to make them happy, right? Nowhere was it making me happy. I thought making you happy was making me happy. That's the journey in and of itself. And again, your version is going to be different than mine. I didn't live your experience. I didn't live your upbringing, right?
So what do you say for the people who think they can do nothing? And I have my own story of just trying to navigate it by myself, bringing up a lot of stuff, and then being like, and then what?
You either then pull right back because you don't know the step, or check, I did it, as another little task in the land of, right?
Mm-hmm.
On the accountability, you think, check, I did it, right? And it should happen faster. And what do I say to them? I say a little bit more every day.
Yeah.
Until you're guided. And to do it on your own, you'll get a certain point. It's, do you want more? Right? What do you want? Which is why, even when we work in this program that I'm doing, the nourished woman, right? It's what now? What's your intention? Why are you doing it? How do you get you in your body? How do you understand the sensations? That's even the first part. Then we can start to align things. Then things start to align up because it's like, who am I being in all of this? What am I doing? Am I just reacting and doing? Or am I actually, is all this supporting what I want? I heard something funny the other day, and somebody that I've has been a guide and a mentor and I was listening to him the other day and he said, the hardest thing for anyone like myself is we try to chunk things into, and I say chunk it, but try to synthesize what it is that we do, except what we did took us 10, 12, for him, he's like, it's taken me 25 years that I'm sharing this work in the way that I am now, because it's a process. Life is a process. Right? We're unraveling parts of ourselves. And again, we look at other people to compromise, to say they are so much further ahead. And yet we have no idea until and I'm not going to, somebody's on two sides. We have no idea what they're doing, right? Which parts of themselves they're hiding from themselves. Because the truth is, the parts that we hide from ourselves, other people actually see much clearer.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
And then they're like, you don't know me. You don't know me. Right? This is what happens, right? That we put on a bigger mask. We hide from ourselves more. We're like, people are staring at us. But it's this thing that goes on until we're willing to be vulnerable with ourselves and keep being vulnerable, and then slowly being vulnerable with people. I'm going to say, it is around us, but it's being in a group where we can do that, right? When we do it and we throw it right out there, which is, okay, family, here's the deal, right? It's like you're throwing stuff at everybody else and yourself, which is like, oh my God. Yeah. Just why work with the energy, right? We're in energetics. Yes, the mind and the emotions, but getting your energetics unscrambled and unbalanced and clean and clear. And now I've got my own field. You've got your field. You get to be responsible. What's going on in mine? I get to keep working in this state. And I'm not going to go into all of that now with you here. It's just that we then come to a space which is mine and which isn't. I'm on broadcasting all the time. You're broadcasting all the time. How do we meet each other and meet the world through our hearts, right? How do we use the mind for what it was designed for? We're not pushing our minds away. That logical beauty's got its essence that we need. It's just we've also got this creative mind, but we've got this beautiful heart that's the real intelligence. And until we work all of us into a space of coherence, and that takes, again, depending where you are in your journey.
And it is a process. And I've learned that. I used to call myself the no girl because I love seeing things happen right now. Right now. And I'm learning that to slow down and actually allow things to be and just being present in that moment, which is the hardest. It sounds so simple, but it's so hard. I mean, I don't even want to say hard because then it's like this negative thing, but, it is quite challenging, just being present and just understanding like why you're here at this given moment and just taking the time to step back and do that, retro on yourself and all that stuff. But there's a fear that comes with it. And I'm going to be honest, like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, am I really ready for this journey? What would I uncover? Am I really ready to discover? What if I'm not this person that I think that I am or that I should be?
Okay.
And I'm scared.
Yes. Okay. So should be means, yeah, well, let's just discover who you are, right? So again, we think we should be something, right? When really what everybody's seeking is, where's the authentic me in this? Where can I really be me, which is us right now, just sharing with the world, whoever listens to this, which is, this is what's coming up. So, oh my God, you're talking to the girl who's scared. I'm like, I'm not going, I'm not meditating, contemplating it, contemplating. What happens is we keep looping. The scared comes from so there's a few things. One, I'm afraid to go there because what's it going to tell me? And I'm not ready for. Yeah. That's kind of what you said. Yeah. And yet our own bodies and our own intuition have a way of helping us and supporting us. They're not there, our own guides. They're not there to do anything other than help you take the next right step. So when you start with a trust, and it's hard to get trust, of course. But if you come from I'm just willing. I'm willing to see what it is. Because, and this was big for me. And now as I have my modality and I work with clients, it's funny because it's like, if you do this one thing, those 3 other things might just fall away. Again, it's this mental thing we've got going up here, right? It's just like work. So let's relate it to something, right? So, you go to work and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this and the boss is this and now I've got this report, I've got this scheduled and this person. All of a sudden you show up. Well, now you're 10 minutes late. That meeting got canceled. The boss doesn't want to see you for 3 hours later. And it's like, oh my God. Right?
Yes.
And then they're like, oh yeah, no, we canceled that. We're not going to do it anymore.
Yeah, well, and we're okay with that.
And we're okay with that, right? And your whole brain goes to, oh my God, I just wasted all my time. Well, you didn't. You learn that I hustle and harm. What did I do? And right. So it's like, go with the process. Where you are now is exactly just like us right here. When we become present and we realize that this is all we needed to do right now, so much more comes, so much more healing, so much more self-awareness, because self-awareness and healing are really the same thing, right? You get to that place of being cured by something, so I'll use me as a chronic illness, which is, the physicality stuff starts to transform, right? We're alchemizing things. It's just, and again, depending who you are. I'm definitely here. I know that I came as someone to heal and help to other people and support them. And I have a beautiful way and I love to alchemize things in my own body. I love to process it, right? That doesn't mean that that's everybody else's journey. However, it is your responsibility to come to a place, if you take it, right? How do I simply navigate what's mine right now? What's going to come up right now? And the more we put it off, just like the work thing, okay? Boss gave you something to do 2 weeks. As a for instance, I don't care if you're in school. I have a report that's due. If I leave my thesis till the last 3 days, right?
Don't do that.
Right? Whatever it is, when we leave it all until the end,
Yeah.
what's happening? You just made your body go into hurry up.
Yeah.
And you pressured it into something instead of, wow, take a breath.
Take a breath.
Now, if I just say, you know what? Do I really need to watch another episode of that Netflix? Right? Do I need to junk all the Netflix? If you do, that's okay. It's just allow yourself and carve out a bit of time. Again, the human's going to fight you until you get there. But it's just an old pattern that's fighting you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But how do you break away from these old patterns?
It's taking the time. I'm going to stop here. It's just take the breath, and say, I'm going to give myself 20 minutes today in the car. Instead of listening to the same tune on the same radio, put on something that uplifts. Take something that's going to shift the vibration, right? Take something that you've learned, put it into practice. Not that the car is really the spot for all the healing that happens, right? We want you to be present. It's just turn off the noise.
Yeah. Yeah. And turning off the noise, I think that's where a lot of people find it very challenging because we are running, like I said, we're on this treadmill and there's all this to do. We have all these things and we need to get it accomplished because that's how we feel some sort of accomplishment from within, or at least that's what we think. So just turning off the noise. Most people seek for like this guide as to how do you turn off the noise?
So what happens is we're actually running on, like we've got fight or flight going on. It's on, freeze, right?
Yeah.
And then we had caffeine. So the cortisol, everything's screwing around, right?
Yeah.
The adrenaline pumps even faster and harder. So now I got to catch up with it. I got to go, right? And what happens is the nervous system is so out of whack, right? Our hormones, the chemistry in the body, we are adding all of these pieces on top of it, right? Then we add medications, then we add drugs, then we add CBD, then we add another medicine, then we add, and I'm not saying that any of that isn't okay. I'm saying wherever you are is where you start. I know for me, I went down a very natural journey. My body rejected it all. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it was like, okay, I was so depleted right? And I did. I started with a bit of homeopathy. I started with a few little things, but then I realized supplements are meant to supplement. They aren't meant to be my way of life, right?
Yeah.
What happens is until we get in our body to feel those sensations, which is a process I know you're working through right now, and that we learn to trust our own body. So you brought up the word trust, right? We have to trust ourselves.
Yeah.
We're disconnected from humanity. We're fragmented because we're disconnected from ourselves.
Yeah.
We can sit here fully connected with each other in conversation, allowing anyone to listen to what we're speaking about, right? To be as vulnerable as we want, because the world doesn't need all of us, right? Nor should we. When we're willing to gift that to someone else who I'm going to say deserves it, that's because we're open to who we are. But again, it's not even about, again, people want to tell these big stories to prove that I went through all this stuff.
Yeah.
People they're not even there to listen to it, right? It's just, what do you need now?
And I like what you said. You said you start wherever you are, start from wherever you are right now. Because a lot of people think even to start, they start preparing how to start. I, for one, especially like with my weight loss, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go buy all this stuff and I'm going to work out.
So I'm going to add a little layer there because I work with language, vibration, energy, frequency, all of that. I would invite you that you don't actually want to lose the weight.
Oh.
If you lose something, we want to find it again.
Oh. Okay.
Let's release it. Let's embrace that the weight was here. We experienced what that is. Now we're going to release it and allow the body to work. I'm going to start to work with my body in conjunction with what's that intention? So when I have an intention, instead of I'm resolving the fact that I need to lose some weight,
Yeah.
in whose eyes? Your body needed to experience it for a reason.
Yeah.
But you're not there yet, but it becomes a protection mechanism in many forms and fashions, right? We're at an obesity high. We're at a diabetes high.
Yeah.
We're eating sugar. We're eating things, which is okay. I don't discount any of it. I was a chef for years. I needed to look at what was food. I was feeding everybody else. I wasn't even nourishing myself, right?
Yeah.
But food was the first part of me that opened up my intuition in a whole other way. I could be working in the kitchen and I was like, oh my God, the food's talking to me. I'm talking to it. Nature, I had this way, right? I knew how to absorb and bring me into it. I brought the spiritual nature and the essence of what food was, how it fed me. That was the big transition point. Once the burnout, then I started to amplify all this aspect of who I was with food and the very fact that, okay, I had this natural ability to work with food. It was an intuitive. I mean, my friends they still do. They're like, Donna's the unicorn chef because eating this opens up the cupboard and starts cooking.
Yeah.
Right? That's not that is something that I excel at. Right?
Yeah.
Except I do it from a form of connection to it, connection to myself.
Yeah.
Right? So nourishment for me in my own journey needed to come from, I was a chef burnt out. I was feeding everybody else physically and all of my energy, all of my own fuel, right? I didn't actually use energy for what it was, let alone fuel for what it is. Like food is a fuel to help to nourish us, right? It's just so many of my own abuses. We're healing aspects of ourselves. Again, those stories, those limitations, those patterns, right? Behaviors, all of that stuff. Well, for me, it comes from, well, how did I grow up? How did I grow up with food? The heart of the home was the kitchen, right? So I need to heal my heart. I need to heal what's going on at home in the kitchen. I need to weigh that as fed. And then I took all of that into my work. I mean, I was studying hospitality. I became a chef. I was in event planning for years. It was like everything was around food, right? I need to start to peel back layers of, where did all this stuff come from? Well, for me, so much had to do with food, the kitchen. That was my unraveling. What do people get to unravel in other ways? When it comes into a full nourishment. How am I going to care for the woman that I am, the woman that I was, the woman that I'm intending to become more and more, and the woman I don't even know who she is to get excited about. You know what? She's going to be better than I can even possibly imagine.
That's exciting.
Right? That's where the optimism comes from. That's where the enthusiasm is like, oh yeah, this is going to be, so I don't know what to be. And I'll be very clear. I've gone into the hermiting, the solo. Oh my gosh, right? Losing community, thinking I've lost it, right? No, I get to build it back up, right? When we live from fear, what happens is there's threads of fear being put out there by us. And what I want to get you into is the fear is one aspect. The courage on the other side, the love, the heart, this is what's going to balance it out. We just don't want these extremes. Right? It's not us or them. It's like, it's both.
Yeah.
If I sat here and I'm like, her, me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. You get that.
It's like, we need to come back into this central. We need to keep balancing back in. We never know when we're going to get pulled out until we have experienced enough of us in presence to know how do we come back. Otherwise, we continue to shame ourselves, push ourselves away, push the body away, push other people away, tell ourselves it's negative, it's not positive, when in fact, negative is the other end of the spectrum. We need the positive, like a battery.
Yeah.
Other end is positive and negative. So we need that to spark, right? It's just when we've been so, again, negative, guilting, shaming us, dissatisfied, all these lower vibrations, and not balancing them out with higher vibrations. So more and more I don't speak about negative and positive with people, because what came up for me was, okay, I needed to have a pause there.
Yeah.
And sometimes I know that I forget. I'm so accustomed to everything that I've been sharing with you, and yet it needs its time to integrate and digest, because even for what anybody hears, there's going to be little bits that they take. We take sparks of information, and that's all we need.
There's so much to take away from here. Like, I knew it was going to be this kind of episode. I'm learning a lot myself. And you have so much inside of you. And I know when I'm doing my coaching with you, I'm just like, can I just empty you inside me and just be this being? I always think that way. But let's talk about food. So there's 3 things that I want to get back to. So I want to get back to the power of breathing, because I'm practicing it and it's like the most liberating, amazing feeling ever. So I want to talk about that a lot so people can actually try it, because it's really good, guys. And then I also want to talk about fear, because it's a big thing for me, and I know it's a lot for people. I think on Google, fear has been searched up every 5 seconds more than 9 million times a day.
Right.
So it's a topic. It's a hot topic. Yeah. So people are dealing with fear and stuff like that. But let's get back to food, because I know you.
Okay, first we need to breathe. You asked about breath, and I remember.
Right.
Okay, and the food. Okay, so that's without, and I'm gonna honor this in a way which is, just let's see what comes up. So breathing that you liked was just the belly breath, right? So I guess what I am going to invite everybody to do, we can just do it right here. Why not? Right.
And not just the best. So it's funny when you start off and you really start breathing from like your belly, then you practice it so much, and then you're like, oh, this is so liberating. It feels so good. And you're like, how do I get it down to my toe? How do I like breathe through my body?
Okay, so because there's breath work, so there's all kinds of things. Yeah. So really what we're doing is you're wanting to breathe through the body. So maybe let's just talk about that. I can take people through that journey. However, they can reach out maybe.
And you have an exercise on your YouTube channel, do you? Do you have like a
well, if you go to, so I guess it was the first, I I don't. Maybe I don't know. I can't remember. Well, so many of the things that I share with you on YouTube are even unlisted because they're for clients more so. But if anybody wants to go on my website, which is just my name, and you see at the bottom, you'll find just a practice to flush the stress. If I don't have a breathing, we can do something. I think the thing is, when we first spoke of belly breathing, why that one's first so important, getting that rhythm going. Because otherwise, so many people are just breathing up here, which is causing more of this. So
that's breathing the whole time.
You're not alone. I was there.
It ended here. It's like,
we're not allowing it all the way through. So once you get that belly breathing, right, that's what you're wanting to do. So I guess really what you're speaking of is getting you through the entire channel of you.
yeah.
And then grounding you into your body.
Mm-hmm.
So you get into a fullness and a weighted presence in your body. Staying active in terms of, I'm alive. I didn't just go and out of my body while she's doing this thing. Right? So that you're connecting to the earth, right? Humans, many of you out there might be thinking that I'm just standing on the earth. Well, you're not. You're actually connected to it, right?
Yeah.
So it's a part of connecting to it. And there's different forms. We hear it in yoga and all these other things. And yet I've had many yogis and I call them that, but just practice yoga or yoga instructors. And yet as soon as they get off the mat, that's it, right? They become ungrounded again.
Yeah.
This is getting in the fullness of the body. So to just tell you here right now, I'm not going to use, I guess, the podcast for that. I'm going to invite everybody. Let's get into that in a different way. So reach out, put comments. If you're interested, I'll be watching it anyway. And either reach out to me or just in this YouTube and we'll connect. It's the going all the way through the body and getting the channels working properly, right? So that's really what.
Why is it important? Why breathing is so important? How does it help us more? Like, I know it helps us way more than we think. So tell us some of the ways that it helps us.
Breathe.
I mean,
if you didn't breathe, you would have. If you didn't breathe, you
no, but I mean, this breathing.
Okay.
Because we breathe, like,
Except what happens is when you only breathe shallowly up here, you're just shoving the same air in and out. You want to use the whole body, which is part of that when you're outside of the body and you're not using the body as this, we have the capacity to breathe the entire body.
yeah.
I only get you moving through the channels. Well, we've started to do the full body breathing, but you have to be comfortable in your own skin first of all, right? Get that field working and the energy working, which is why that routine that's just free for everybody to download, which is only the first little bit, which is like, okay, let's just even feel what it feels like to be different. Then I'll get you in the whole body. Because you've got to practice things slowly. Otherwise what happens is, oh my God, it wiped me out. You're moving all this energy, right? Mm-hmm. But back to your why is it important? Because breath, we're breathing air all the time. We're breathing the trees. We got to love the trees for what they're doing, right? We are breath. Breath is life, right? But all those elements out there outside, they're us, right? We're breathing them in and out. We just want to breathe them through the whole of us, right? We're just looking outside. So breathe the whole body, inside, outside, the whole of us, right? So that's why it's important, I guess, first of all. I mean, I know that's a tiny maybe answer for a big question.
Yeah. No, it's a good answer. And it's funny because a couple years ago I did, I think I went to some seminar and they were talking about breath work and I thought it was the most stupidest thing ever. I said to myself, well, we breathe every day. So why should I spend 10 minutes just hearing myself breathe? And, now I'm doing it with you because you have shared a different perspective of how it helps my body and just getting my energy moving and I can actually feel it. I'm just like, this is really, really important because it does affect my feeling, my mood. And then now when I wake up in the morning, I'm just like, that deep breath. As soon as I wake up, I'm like, it's
well, you're breathing differently because you're also flushing stress out of the body. That's big difference.
So do you think it's important to set it, sorry to cut you, but do you think it's important to set an intention when you're breathing and it makes it
a little bit more meaningful.
Of course. Anything we set an intention to, even the practices that I've shared with you, as you do them, when you stay focused on that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm speaking to my body as to why I'm doing this thing, we start to speak to the cells. We start to let the body know, oh my gosh. And I'm smiling because it just came to me I've shared this before with clients, but not you, and I want to share it right now. And for everybody that's listening, is my mother, she's 79. I'm like, Mom, when did you thank your body for walking you around for 79 years? Right? Not from a shaming part. It's just like, cause she does the energy routine every day. She's been doing it for 4 years. And it's when you do it though with an intention as to why you're doing it, it's going to support the rest of you. And you stay in that present moment of doing this instead of, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. You're starting to use and honor you. So then the body wants to work for you because you're acknowledging it. You're no longer fragmenting yourself from your own body, let alone other people. Whereas, and I'm mad at there, we are a society that uses mental health as something that's mental when it's not, only mental, right? We're overworking the mind. We're running the wrong engine here.
Yeah.
We've got a body here, the sacral essence of us. That's a motor that runs us.
Yeah.
That has the capacity. It's us using our energy to use that, in forms that we choose, right? In alignment with what we choose. And if we're somebody that wants to choose it because we're choosing that for that path, mine's not that path, mine's that path, right? We get to choose.
My path.
Right? What's my path? And when you go back to breath work as to why it didn't resonate back then okay, you weren't ready for it. You know, it brings me to something you brought up earlier, or came from me earlier, which is, I never claim that I'm done. I have other mentors. I have other people coaching me in different things. Because what's my next step? Even when I listen, even as we're doing this, there's things that are like, oh yeah, I'm honing that one a little bit differently for me. It just brings another level. That's what self-awareness is. That's what our consciousness is. We're raising consciousness of the whole. We're raising our own consciousness to be more aware, aligned, conscious, in coherence to what is my intention for my life. Is it supporting me? Am I then supporting others in a way that they feel it? Yeah. Right? And I don't need to preach it. I'm just like, okay, that's how it's supporting me. Right?
That is really profound what you say. A lot of it resonates with me. A lot. I feel like I'm getting a session here. So I'm grateful, and I'm pretty sure people online would be grateful for this session. Something I want to ask you, and especially for the people who probably have the same feeling or probably think the same way, when we've been so disassociated with our body for so long, because we were told like, okay, you're supposed to be this frame or this size or this thing. So a lot of people are afraid to even connect with their bodies. Like, you know, they're still going through just different traumas of like not feeling value, not feeling like accepting themselves, their size, their age, their color, like so many things. Yeah. And then you're asking that person to connect with their body and trust themselves, to allow themselves to even just the simplest thing as like breathe with intention and stuff like that. How do they get over that challenge?
Okay. So,
big question.
We're not going to get over it. What we're going to do is we're going to navigate it. And we're going to love ourselves through a process differently of this unraveling. We're going to start to ask ourselves, why are we continuing that pattern? Where is it serving me? Because it's serving something.
Yeah.
And that in and of itself is where this fear that you brought up earlier keeps stemming from. We're afraid to go into places when it's like, how do we honor the body? And everybody comes from it differently, right? Is it weight? Is it an image? Is it a chronic pain, a chronic illness, something like I had, right? Again, those are sensations. Those are things that are going in the body and that are happening. And we're going to push it. We're going to brace ourselves. We're not going to let it happen. We're going to shame our body and we're going to say, get out of there. That's not me. And then you're throwing yourself back into, I'm better than that. And again, that's just another added level of shaming ourselves.
Yeah, we shame ourselves.
We need to be willing. There was something I was like, yeah. we need to be willing. And we honestly, I'm going to invite anyone that's going through it, find someone like myself, find someone that you're going to start on a journey differently than you have. Yeah. You're going to take it from a kinder, more loving approach, and all you have to do is be mine.
Yeah.
And know that, so I'm going to use for myself, right? At one point in my life, same thing. I'm like, oh, I'm overweight. I never looked at it that way. I might have at times because I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. So it wasn't even, I was like, I didn't care. I used food as a tool to just push it down. Eat more, right? Don't let eating sensations that are going to eat, right? Because I'm talking, I had endometriosis. I had, right? The pelt, I'm just like, I'm brace myself, right? So the legs are throbbing, the body's throbbing. I'm on like, tough mode, right? Yeah. I had work to do. I had pressure. I had heat. I had staff. I had things. I had 2 jobs, 9 jobs rolled into one, and I was better than that. I was gonna, right? And it became, as soon as when I came to that point, which was, oh my gosh, things started to melt off. I'm going to use melt because I needed to get myself out of those environments. Now, leaving an environment still took me with me.
Of course.
You take me wherever you go. Wherever you go. So it's a process. And then you start to align, what does health mean? We think health is just our weight. Well, that's one area of your life.
Yeah.
I've got all kinds of parts of my life. And for me, I siloed everything. It was like, this is what I'm working on. Mm-hmm. So then all those other parts, it was like, hold on a second, I'm still back at square one, as in, I didn't work all of me at the same time. And until we start to work this as a process, right? We shame one part of our body and then shame the rest because we just ignore all of those, right? So it is a process. And when you learn it in a way that I'm teaching it, and there's many others, it's just, I come from the working, the mind, the emotions, the energy field together. Yeah. I'm not just saying, let's only do this. I'm not saying that that's not right. I'm just saying, I've worked on it enough. I've navigated me enough. I come to this place where, how do you put it together and start to first know how the body works? I didn't know how my body worked.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot about my body.
Know how my body works, right?
Yeah.
So that's the first part. Anybody that has body shaming, body acceptance, body image, our own image, it'll all is a process. And I guess I hold you in, I know you're going to do it because I know you can. I know you can. I see you in the beauty and the brilliance. We pull words into what does beauty mean, first of all, what's beautiful, right? Yeah. Well, when we look at somebody else and we might think that are they even what we want? That's that. And this is the thing. They're all reflections of something that we have a choice. Well, when am I going to choose me?
Yeah.
And you might use them as a reference point because I don't discount that. Yeah. I use qualities, right? When we start calling a quality as to something that we want, I want the quality of what does vitality mean, or I want the quality of self-love, self-respect, self-acceptance. That's going to start the process much more soft.
Yeah.
So if we could just say soften.
Soften and being more kind to yourself.
Soften. But even just that word, saying soften. So I invited people earlier to turn off the car, turn off the tunes in the car.
Yeah.
Just say soften to yourself. And body sits in itself.
Yeah. Even be more nice to yourself and kind to yourself. Years ago, when I started my journey, I was asked to speak to someone the way I will normally critique myself, and I couldn't. I did not want to put the person through that. I was just- and then they asked me, they're like, then why do you put yourself through it? And I just thought to myself, well, I can handle it, but can you handle it? You know, so it made me, like, at that point, I started thinking of being a little bit more kinder to myself. But again, you compare yourself, and I console myself by saying, well, I know my capability. I know how much I can do. And when I'm under delivering on that, then I feel the need to like really critique myself. Cause in my head, I'm just like, well, I know I can do better.
Because you're doing. You're not being.
Yeah.
You're still learning that.
I'm still,
Who am I being, first of all? And whoever I'm being falls into what I'm doing. So it's like we need to change who we're being so that we can do in a way that's in alignment. Again, we're so action, work, success, hustle, driven, prove, bills, this, that.
I'm trying to work my way out of it. You said something earlier, and I want to step back when it's, you said that you take yourself wherever you are. And I want this, I wanted to bring it back up because I want people to hear this, because there's a lot of people who believe that the start over crew, I call them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if we move and we go somewhere else, you can start.
Right.
We can start all over, and then we come to the same problem. We're like, well, maybe it's the environment. Maybe it's this. And we never hold ourselves accountable, and we just keep going.
So, yes.
So I like that you said you take yourself wherever you are. So if you don't fix yourself or work on yourself,
Right.
then you're going to just come to the same problems.
Yeah. And yes. So yeah, moving and, cutting things off just like that. Sever all the ties, right? It's like you just cut a part of you off because we're forgetting we're in relationship with whatever that experience was. Call it work and enough. Call it a divorce. Well, I was part of it.
Yeah.
What part's mine to own? What part am I responsible for? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that we're, again, I come from now that I've healed so much and working with people, it's like, I want you to do this for you so that our children and our children's children, grandchildren, generations, we're doing it for them. Except, and the thing is, once you start working with your energy and you do it for yourself, it's like, it unfolds. The ripple effect, it happens. So we will take ourselves. And again, that doesn't say that you're not going to have a bad day. I'm not coming here saying I've never had a bad day. I'm like, I'll even give you this morning. I'll give you this morning. Donna. Did my meditation. I was just like, oh my God, my body just went into drop zone. And I was like, well, I could get up. And I'm like, okay, hold on. You know yourself better than that. You know exactly what this is. Your body needs you to process exactly what that was.
Yeah.
So I laid back down, went back to bed for an hour. Well, the messages, the drops, the exactly what I've been waiting for, this deeper, intrinsic, I'm going to say not only from he says a deep alchemizing transformation, it happened because I allowed it. We don't allow ourselves to rest. Now, because I'm an entrepreneur, do I have the capacity? I can go back to bed. I don't have a kid that I have to, a child, I'm not derogatory about that, but that I have to get off to school. Sure. And even if it was, and you needed to get your child to school, I'm just going to use you as an example because that's just a beautiful way to do it, which is you could either say, oh my God, that was just crazy. Or you could say, hold on. You know, if she gets to school 5 minutes late so that I can just sit for 5 minutes, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Not the end of the world. It's a moment in time. Because that allowed me to be like, oh my gosh. Right? And we don't know what that is. But again, when we're working so hard to prove to whoever else, right? And we also forget that if I took the 5 or 10 minutes, what in that is anything other than me honoring me versus we could have jumped in the car right away, got in traffic jam for 10 minutes.
Right?
Universe is doing it on purpose, people. Sorry, that is why I need somebody, any kind of healer to help you understand that, right? Or all of a sudden there's a snowstorm. We're not going to work.
We're not going anywhere.
So we just haven't put those pieces together. So this is the journey that I like to take you through, right?
Yeah.
It's just, we're here to forget and remember and forget and remember until we become so coherent with ourselves. And that's a practice. You're not there yet, right? You might be in certain things, but again, that's not life. That's not how it is. We want, and when I go back to, do you want your children to push them through school to prove that they get the A, to prove that they're going to be the doctors, the lawyers, the this, the that, to prove that when they get there, they don't like it internally, but they're still going to do it because there's a guilt underwritten. So back to the fear, when we have fear underlying us, we're just going to create more of it.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
People like myself, and I'm saying people like myself, I have some in my own community, and I know there's many others out there. However, they don't have to be a healer, right? Like, this is not about need to be an energy healer or a spiritual coach. That's not what that's about, because that is just another label that can add another element. I'm saying when they on the very fact that I want to transmute whatever that fear is that comes up in me and learn how to alchemize it and send it love and embrace it. We need to embrace these parts of us. They're not separate from us. So that's its journey. I mean, yes, is the world fearing out right now? For sure. But until they're able, again, back to willing, we're able, right? We could be ready. Oh, yeah. But are you willing? Right?
Are you willing?
Are you willing? And when you're there, things are going to unfold more rapidly. Right?
Let's go back to food.
I know. I think some of that.
I have to.
No, that's okay. We started it there. Yeah, let's do that.
And energy around food. And I'm excited to talk about this with you because I know you were a chef.
Okay.
And you still are.
Yeah.
And you believe that food carries energy and there's a lot of energy in the kitchen and just like the way we see food. I actually, a couple months ago, I was complaining to someone about, I just eat the bad food and I'm like, no. You're not eating the bad food. Like, it's the way you see the food you eat and how you put it into you and stuff. And I'm like, what? But then I heard you echo something very similar and I'm like, I would like to hear more.
Okay. So, I guess I'll add on a little bit what I said earlier is, so the best way to look at food in that format was because I was speaking with somebody last night actually about this. When you look at an artist that has a white canvas and they've got all those colors of paint and brushes, I look at food and a kitchen in a very similar way, right? Now, does color have vibration when you look at a painting?
Yes.
Somehow we can equate that if we enjoy art.
Yeah.
Right? We can get a feeling out of a piece of art. I do with food.
I know what I was talking about.
Exactly. I do it with food. I get it with food. Now, a lot of people will say, oh yes, but it's beautifully plated and whatever. It needs to be this exquisite, whatever. Hold on a second. I'm going to take it one step further. It has life force in it. It has color. It talks to it. It sings to me. All of nature does. That is, the connection that I have, and I honor very, very beautifully. And I can take people through that journey, right? A little more than here right now. It's when we start to build on these connections, right? I use food as that tool. I like to cook. It's my art studio. It's my intuitive space. It's my creative space, right? And I want to go to, it's my creative space because even when my brain's doing too much,
you can bring it.
I can dance, come back to the kitchen, make something, right?
Yeah.
Now, I have friends that would say, oh my God, I can't eat that much. And I'm like, I don't have to eat it all. I can just go and talk to a piece of something and whatever, have a conversation, or just play with it. Or because I am somebody that I value, again, it's a value of mine, something that I honor, which is I like to cook. I like to make food for me.
Yeah.
And I like to make food for friends. So when we have become accustomed to, and again, if we set a different value, if my value is I don't have time for that and I'm going to put value on something else, great. But I have a value because you need to eat. You need to eat to live. My thing is I have more of a bringing that food, that connection. So if anybody out there wants to learn to cook, let me know what you really want to do. Learning to cook, is it to learn how to cook with the food, how to bring in more of your intrinsic healing qualities with food? Is it about the kitchen and in an environment of connection? Is it connecting with people? Right? And again, there's levels and layers, right?
There's so much that can stem.
There's so many things that can step out of it. And I grew up without what I now value as a connection around the table. Yes, we were all there. But to have conversation around a table, I'm not using a conversation. I'm going to use communication. Connection. It's not even communication. It is connection. How do I converse? How do I slow down? How do I integrate? How do I digest? How do I honor all of these things and bring it into a very valued space for me, which is we are moving in and out of our kitchens. People are grabbing food in and out, and I encourage you to not grab food because you just grab it and printed it like, right? It's like, oh, I need. I'm ingesting that. I'm digesting that. Yeah. Shine it. Give it a little wash. Just smile at it.
Yeah.
Right? Then eat it. The value of prayer over food. There's many, many things. I use it in ceremony and ritual, and right. I work with nature, the cosmos, right. I have that quality, that ability. You can learn it.
Yeah, it's such a good way to see food and just looking at food differently. I know the last person I spoke to about this when I was complaining about food, they're like, it's the way you see food. You should be delighted. You know, most people, especially when you're going through stuff with your weight, you're like, oh yeah, this is fat and this is not good, or this is good, or this is that. I'm eating this, but I'm not enjoying it, but I'm eating it because I was told that this is what I need to eat. But if we look at it differently and just appreciate the nourishment that we're going to get from this food and how great it is, like the whole energy of it going into our body will translate differently. That's what I was told.
Right. What did it sound? And what you've also shared in all of that was the intention that you have is not actually an intention. You're living someone else's, oh my gosh, how do I eat less? How do I should do this? I've listened to all these different ingredients. Then there's paleo, keto. Should I be vegan? Oh my gosh, I have to work out this much. Oh my gosh, we're in an obese society. Oh my God, that's me. And I'm just shamed. I feel skinnier, so nobody looks at me. Oh my gosh, I'm this. And my family has diabetes. I've got, right, all this stuff. And then we're just like, take a breath. Because we're only learning. I'm only now showing you, how do I body scan me? How do I align with that food? How do I trust my body? Once you get into it, your body's going to tell you what to eat.
Yeah.
Your body will tell you what to eat. Your body will tell you if you should keep taking those supplements.
Yeah.
I'm not saying don't have a doctor. I'm saying, or a nutritionist or whatever. I'm saying what I bring to the table more so, yes, let's come together 100%. There's a beauty in it. Such a beauty in it.
Yeah.
And all the senses are there. I use that as a tool to bring all the senses into it, to open up your own sensory awareness. It's just now, how do I realize I'm feeding me that? I'm feeding other people that. Whether that plate is one dish, one tiny little molecule, right? Or it's an entire meal, right? Yeah. If I sweat over it and I'm like, I've got to get ready for Christmas dinner, and I ain't doing this every year, we just fed everybody else.
Yeah.
And now, we wonder why everybody's tired after we just ate. Exactly. Everybody's whatever. It's like, oh, that I didn't feel good. Really? We just eat how many days? And then we close it in the fridge that when we open it, and it's like, God, there's never anything to eat. I'm back in there. Open it up. Oh, everything's rotted in that crisper. Shove it to the back. I just bought new groceries.
Oh my God.
Close the door. We have no idea what we're doing to ourselves, our energy, our kitchen. Where's the love?
Yeah,
And again, I come from that. Now we've got the hustle of chefing. We've got all of this. And it's like, when we don't even have a team that works cohesively, unless there are chefs and kitchens that aren't out there, but then we have front of the back, front of the house, back of the house, all of this going on. Yes, do we need all of the energies going on 100%? We need all those emotions going on 100%. It's a symphony. I'm just saying, what a beautiful way to come back to a place that was said to be the heart of the home. We could just say, how do we pause? How do we even have a meal for 20 minutes there?
yeah.
Shut off the phone.
And be present.
Be present.
At the meal and everything.
Have conversation around.
You're making me watch your food.
Well, it's tasty.
I gotta come in the kitchen with you, Donna.
We can do that. And we can do, because we're looking at extending, well, we're not, but I am, and we're extending the program that I do to do it combine it with food and a healing component.
I like sense of the Nourishing Woman program, so.
It's the food is it's a tool.
Yeah.
The food is a tool with all these other tools, right? Because for me, when you start to realize what is all of this chewing, what are we chewing on? What are we digesting?
What are we digesting?
What are we actually intending for us? What's going on with our body, right? How does the body work? What's the biology doing? It's not like I'm just giving a biology class. We're just going to do it from I gotta bring the play into it, right? Like, I'm like, pretty much, yeah. If you're a little drama, a little play, and like, we're so serious. That's part of this too. It's like, we're so darn serious. And I'm like, oh my gosh, right? I'm like, no, we don't need to. I'm like, food night, we aren't serious. It's serious because we're eating it, but I'm like, oh my God, the music's going, the dance, the play, the this.
Make it fun.
It's an art. It's its own, right?
I like that. And I'm happy that you're having that spin on food and just looking at food differently. And it'll be nice to see you in the kitchen. And hopefully we can get to see that soon. My next question is, just before we wrap up, what do you have to say to the person? Cause I've been there. And I mean, as much as we would like, and I know I appreciate do this step by step kind of instructions to go. I can't lie. What would you say to the person who know that they have to hold themselves accountable and they're ready to start the journey, but they just don't know how?
Okay, first of all, I get to hold myself responsible. You are the only one that could do it. So do you have to? Well, it's a choice. So it's a choice. Every choice is a choice, right? Where do you start? How do you start? Right here. You just heard this. If someone's ready and this is enough to get them, I do.
Yeah.
It's my time. I am going to learn to become responsible for me in a different way, accountable for me in a different way. It's just those language can get us tripped up. I'm curious. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what I don't know. We're in the age now of lifelong learning. No more is it, and I'm not talking scroll on YouTube, it's lifelong learning, or on Instagram, or TikTok. It's not lifelong learning by it. How do I say this is something that I'm going to learn for the next, 90 days? It takes that long for neuroscience to get to change that neuroplasticity, get things moving, really. And not in everything, but again, I'm just going to give it as a broad stroke. It's am I willing to do something different, commit to me, even when I've never done it before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And say, okay, I'm done with the trepidation. If you're not ready, that's okay too.
Yeah.
So when you say to yourself, are you ready?
Yeah. Some people wait for like a chronic illness or something huge to happen and they're like, oh my God, I'm ready now, or I should be ready, or I'm going to go seek this. And I always feel like maybe you don't have to wait for that. You should start now, like you said, wherever you are.
So wherever you are is fine. That's where you are. It's just when you realize that, because it is a process, and if I can start now with someone who's been through it, and I can see an aspect of me in them, and I feel good with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, if you feel fear going in with the person, I don't care if it's a therapist, the massage therapist, the energy healer. And again, when we're talking energy as people, I work with the energy. I work with it in many different ways, but whatever that is, it doesn't even matter if it's your coach on a football team. If you go in and you fear them,
Yeah.
you're bringing that into the energy into it, right? Be aware, take a breath, go out with the intention, you know what? I'm going to find somebody. And I'm going to also invite this, which is, we'll drop it here. I can have a 15-minute call. Just have a call. If we're not a fit, I'm going to tell you. There are many people out there, right? They offer free calls, complimentary call.
Yeah.
You're going to know, do I want that energy? Am I the best person that's suited to assist that person?
Yeah.
I'm not here to help everybody.
Yeah.
I want to know that the person, they're at the place where I can guide them in the most genuine, loving, move them along, that they're going to feel that. And if I'm not, I'm going to recommend somebody, right? If you have someone that is like, you need to be with me, we need to do this, we don't need to.
No, we don't.
That might be the thing that you start with. When you honor you and the person you're with, because you are getting something out of it, are you willing to see it from that? That's enough right now, right? If you're someone that, I'm all about getting a program. You need to get in a program. You even get to, but we don't do this on our own.
Yeah, it's hard to do it on your own. And like,
You just only get so far.
yeah. And I know with you, like the way we met, I connected with you. I'm like, who is this woman? Like, she was just so happy and like everything about her was just, and I'm like, what? I felt like I knew her somewhere in some past life for like forever. And we just started talking and I'm like, and now I'm like, I feel so safe and like, yeah, I really like that and I just want to stay with you forever.
Yeah. And you said safe too.
Yeah.
But safe is a beautiful word.
Yeah.
Because when we have fear, we don't feel safe. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't feel secure.
Mm-hmm. I can be completely vulnerable.
Right.
I don't feel like, I don't have to.
Right.
Like, for the first time, like, I don't care about whether you see me as a professional or not or whatever. It never crossed my mind. I just feel like, I can just be like,
Right. Thank you. And I appreciate that you chose me first of all. And I'm here as well, but I mean, as a coach, somebody to guide you through this. And that looks at, even spirituality. We're not going down that space, but to realize that we're spiritually awakening. We're coming back to the essence of who we are. We're never awake, people. Spiritual awakening isn't an end game.
right?
The game is we're going to keep awakening.
It's actually the beginning of it.
It's the beginning. And it's just a continual process, right? Because when you find something, I've awakened. Well, yeah, you woke up. Well, no, I woke up like more today. Which is why, and again, you choose however it is. And I'm good with that. I'm good with wherever anybody is. I just, if it resonates, connect. If it resonates, connect. And not even, it's just, if you want to go more with what it is, and I do on any of my worlds, connect.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that we got to do this and bring in this into the entrepreneurs, our spiritual coaches, healers, guides, intuitive. They might have been a chef and now their guides are telling them to bring that back and bring it all together. And we learn to navigate life. We learn to trust the body and allow the body to take us where it wants us to go, right? Welcome to the new world, Dave.
Yeah, well, for sure. And that's what I wanted with this podcast. I wanted for all entrepreneurs to have the opportunity to share their stories and just their path, because sometimes we believe that, it's this, and then voila, you become a big success story, and that's how it should be done. Everybody have tips and tricks and whatever is needed so you can be that next success story. And I've realized that it's not like that. I mean, entrepreneurs go through so many different things, and you can have a call in one day and tomorrow it may not be, and that's okay. Because most people are like, oh my God, I should stick to this even though I don't like it. And it doesn't have to be that way.
Right.
Yeah. And your story is beautiful. started off as a chef and through food and energy and all that stuff, you found your calling and
And I left my calling.
you love your
It's coming down.
and now you're sharing and you have so much.
I didn't leave it. I put it on bar. I thought I left it. That's the difference. Back to if you left it and it's like, oh yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Well, I wasn't, but it's and it's not even a but, right? It's an and. It's now inviting me to bring these worlds together.
And then there was something else that was extremely important, how the dots connect, right? So you go through these things and then you feel like, oh, I left this behind. But then you travel or whatever in time. And then this thing that you thought you left behind came right where you are and it connects everything together. And then you realize, oh yeah, this was actually meant to be this way. I had to at that moment leave it behind so that I can go here so that it could come and meet me here in a better place where I can appreciate it more.
Exactly. So now I can actually
Yeah.
be and do at the same time with that beautiful gift that we have. And I think that's that spiraling. Those things will come back. Those patterns come back. Yes, there's a way to heal them because that's what we're doing. We're healing and transmuting and transforming things and alchemizing it. And yet when it comes back, when we've done enough of it and we see it for what it is, it's like, wow, right? We start to see the world for who we really are. And what's possible for us and what's ours to bring to the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's ours to bring to the world? When I now get to honor that, oh my God, it's just the world inside. And I'm going to bring it to the world. I'm not even sure how. And I get to bring it back in all the ways, right? Because I was like, shoot. But I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm the kid. I'm like a kid. I'm like the troll of the kid. Anyway, there's so much shared.
So much to share. Yeah. I knew it was going to be like that. I knew like you have so much in you and I could talk to you for days.
Yes.
Non-stop. But I'm so grateful
We've just begun.
I'm so grateful that you took the time out to come here and share everything. I know a lot of people are going to appreciate this. Going to get a lot of views. I can't wait to come in the kitchen with you. And all Donna's information will be linked below so you can reach out to her. And she's such a beautiful soul. Like, honestly, guys, she's amazing. I'm like one of the biggest fans. I can't tell you. There's not enough words to tell you.
You don't need to. The hard for phenomenal.
All right. But thank you again for watching us, and we definitely appreciate all the views and your input, your comments. Thank you.
And share with people.
And yes,
Thank you and for inviting me here. I appreciate it. Yeah. It's hard to do.
you can come back again and again.
All right.